Hello, and welcome to 20 Lore Pro, the competitive resource for Lorcana players who enjoy deck building, competing, and talking all things Lorcana. You can find out more at our Discord community, 20lore.pro/discord, link in the description. Are you looking to take your competitive Lorcana play to the next level? Check out 20 Lore Pro's coaching channel, where we have coaches ready to help you play your best at the next big event. Link in the description. 20 Lore Pro is heading to Charlie's Collectible Show in Stone Mountain, Georgia, June 22nd through the 23rd for their Lorcana 10K tournament. Head on over to Charlie's Collectible Show's website, link in the description, where you can sign up for their 10K tournament. Look forward to watching that in June.
Okay, hello. So welcome to the 20 Lorecast, which unsurprisingly is the podcast brought to you by 20 Lore Pro. I'm one of your hosts, LD. You may know me, if you know me at all, as Lorcana Decklists on Twitter. I'm also joined by two wonderful co-hosts. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, hi. So I'm HarlanSweete. You may know me as a gremlin around threads for green steel or blue steel. I like to swap pretty constantly. Made some top cuts some places, and I'm sure we'll get into that as well. But yeah, I'm excited to do this as well. Go through some different things that are happening in the community.
And I'm Artabax. Maybe you know me from my streams or from my YouTube videos. I'm looking so forward to this. I'm really excited. Maybe you know me as the green-purple player of some tournaments, and I can confirm that I can't play another deck than this.
Yeah, thank you both. So as I say, totally new podcast, and this is our first attempt at doing something like this. Been in the pipeline for a little while, so I'm sure we're all really excited to get going. But what we're really looking to do here is have a platform to discuss competitive Lorcana, as you may find with other podcasts, but maybe bring a bit more of a European perspective to it. And every month, or however often we end up releasing these, we're aiming to have a guest on with us to talk through maybe some recent tournament results and try and show a spotlight on some different areas of the European community, different countries, their local scenes, and get to really spotlight some players that maybe haven't had too much limelight yet and talk to them. I'm just excited to chat with these guys. Do you have any hopes and dreams for our brand new podcast?
Yeah, I'm quite excited to make this very, very community driven, because I think there's a lot of great Lorcana podcasts out there right now that you can tune into, news and updates, and some touch on some interesting things. Like we've talked about some movie ones as well. But I think I'm quite excited to make this community driven. When the idea of this podcast was presented to me, a lot of it was around, we noticed American players who they have their culture of their local scenes and their stores. I'm quite interested how Europeans sort of do it. There seems to be quite a big difference there. You know, I've had chats and Discords about it, and they're like, "You do what? Are your locals?" Sort of, because it culturally is different, and even in the UK compared to Germany, I'm sure there are cultural differences as well there. It's just a bigger thing in the States. I think we can all agree. As people were saying of their store champs, they had like 6 store champs that week or something. You know, they could go one each day. I think at max I could do 4 for both weekends. So yeah, I think that's great. I think we should get people from all walks of the community sort of upcut. I want to maybe even people at our locals would be fun. I think just to come and like say a little word about what it's like playing in a German or an English like local store and what the culture is like there. Yeah, I think it'd be nice to touch on those things for the community.
Yeah, totally. And as you say, it does feel kind of different over here, and the American scene does feel kind of crystallized. I'm aware that we see a lot out of hotspots around the USA, like South Florida comes to mind, for example, where there's a lot of TCG activity, and maybe a lot of that kind of dominates you see a lot of activity there. I'm sure it's different across other areas, but certainly across Europe, you've got a really diverse range of players with a diverse range of scenes, and it's going to be really cool just talking to some of them and getting their viewpoints on things and just experiencing the game through their eyes a little bit. So really hoping we can bring that to everyone, and it should be really cool just to chat to a lot of different people. But no guest for this first episode. We're just going to be talking amongst ourselves as we kind of find our feet with this podcast. We are, however, at the time of recording, 1 week away from the first landmark European tournament, which is the Disney Lorcana Challenge in Lille. And preparing for that tournament is going to be our theme for the episode. which I'm sure you both are doing a lot of preparation-wise, and thinking a lot about, trying desperately not to think about all of the excitement of set 4. But before we get into all that, thinking about preparation for this upcoming tournament, we've got to look back a little bit. We've got a whole set worth of tournament data to think about and experience with decks. So we'll start out with a little bit of reflection. Let's start with set championships. What did you guys both play, and how did you get on with that? What was your experience like at your local set championships, Harlan?
Yeah, okay, with my deck choices, I'd like to be like one of you guys who are green, purple, goat, but I, for some reason, can't stick with a deck for particularly too long, and I get fed up with it, and I want to swap to a different deck. So at the time, I was still on my blue steel high, trying to be Sky's Padawan, you know? I got to learn everything from him. Personally, my experience was I didn't think blue steel translated very well to store champs. And that was mainly because of the caliber of the decks, and there was a lot of casual decks. At this point as well, I felt red purple had a good matchup versus blue steel. Just wasn't working out because it's a wheel deck, and sometimes you draw 3 wheels and 2 dimes.
You can lose more to your own deck than in some other decks.
Exactly. It's like when they say what's the biggest weakness, and you say itself. It just breaks, it falls apart, and you can master the mulligan as much as you want, but it does. So I took that to 2, and one I made top 8, and the next one I got a top 4. So I walked away with a stitch with it. So I didn't hate that deck. Blue Steel's got a place in my heart for me. For the last one, me and a friend got to first and second, and we were like, okay, for Americans, I don't think they realize, but driving an hour or 2 hours to a place is very far for us. You hear the Americans, they say like, oh, we did a 4-hour drive to an event. It's like, that's just not happening here. You know? We were about an hour out, and we got to the first and second, and we just said, we'll just split and take it. And I don't think I'd bring red purple to anything else besides store championships. I think I wouldn't take it to Thea, I wouldn't take it to a regional, but I think for store champs it was a strong pick.
Nice. How about you, Artabax? How did you get on?
I did a real grind on the first weekend. We had a little bit more here than in England. We had some in reach every day. So I went on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday on the first weekend. The whole rest of the week I was sick. It was so exhausting. And on the other weekend I made 2 additional, so it was 6 in total. I won 4 stitches, and one I won completely. Yeah, I played green purple, obviously, surprised there. And I think green purple was also a really good choice for this. 4 stitches out of 6 tournaments is really good.
Nice.
I think I was kind of lucky. Yeah,
that's a good result. I think my experience sort of mirrors that. I also played green purple and observed the same thing, which is that you really can play similarly to Ruby Amethyst when you're given the freedom to just draw more cards than your opponent. And it's a deck, as a deck, really forces the opponent to know what you're doing. And I think all of us play a lot. You know, we practice a lot against a lot of top players online, that sort of thing. It's maybe not the case for everyone at store championships, because I certainly felt like I took a lot of people by surprise. I got away with things that I wouldn't have normally got away with. Lots of drawing 4 with Ursula on turn 4. People are pretty conditioned to not let you do that. But then I did it and was like, whoa, that worked. I'm not used to that working. And that gets you quite a lot of the way towards a win. So it did feel like a great deck choice. And obviously it's the one I was practiced with, but felt like a really good choice for that sort of environment. And had a great weekend with it.
Yeah, it was really good. I was really happy because we in our city where I live, we have many competitive players here. Our scene is like 5, 6, 7 really competitive players. We went all to the same set championships. At least at the top cut, it was just really hard matches.
Yeah, it was. We had certain stores where it was like these guys were playing Magic at a very high competitive level. Because there's a sort of dance you do where when you play at a certain level, everyone sort of knows, I do this, then you do that, then we do this.
I lost one final where I played against one Amber Emerald deck, and every turn was a surprise, and then you don't know what's happening in the next turn. Then comes Don Carnage, basic 5-drop, and then the Lyle and such cards I didn't think of, and then they crushed me with all these cards you never see in matches or something. And he got first with this deck, 70 people.
70?
Really amazing. Yeah, 70 people. Yeah, was really amazing. Yeah. And he won that because nobody knew how he played, how they play against him.
Nobody knew what to do when he plays Don Carnage.
Yeah.
Because we've not experienced, we don't see a lot of that. And that brings me on to something, I just want to talk about this now. I was going to talk about it later, but let's bring it forward. Expected with paper-based metagames for the upcoming challenges, it's a bit of a different world playing physical Lorcana versus practicing online, isn't it? Because people do have the cards that they own, and they do have pet decks that they've just been playing in person. Do you think when we get to these bigger events, these Atlanta, Lille, do you expect your course to be playing against pure optimized meta decks, or are you sort of a little bit wary of the paper factor and those more rogue decks coming at you?
I would assume that it's nearly the same, but I don't know. I really don't know.
I think certain decks will have popularity still. I mean, it's usually said that red purple is a very popular. I mean, it's just a popular deck in general.
Yeah. Every deck is hard to play. If you want to win against a good player, you have to make the perfect plays. But I think that the general idea of the deck is really straightforward, but that's controversial maybe. But often it's like you have a curve. It's maybe more obvious your plays sometimes than other decks who don't have a straight curve.
I think you're completely right in that the failsafe, or at the bottom like skill level of the deck, it's you just play on curve. And that can't be wrong because you just play a bigger thing each turn. But of course, once you get more into the deck, it's like, I'll hold Pinocchio for turn 3 so I can kill Ursula, you can go a bit deeper with the deck, but at its core, that's why I thought it was really good for Store Championship. I've helped people get onto Blue Steel, and I didn't realise, it's just, when you've got like over 100 reps with a deck, and it's second knowledge to you. But to teach someone that is a little bit more difficult. It's, no, you need to hit this on turn 3 and you need this in your mulligan, but not if they're this colour. And it's way harder to teach than red purple.
But red purple is certainly, it sits there as one of those decks that it is relatively easy to learn and very hard to master. You can get to this point where you've got a good shot at winning games reasonably fast because, like you say, playing on curve with it is just very powerful in a linear way. Yeah. And there's a lot of room to grow as well. Probably another reason why so many players have stuck with the deck and why it's still so prominent is, it rewards the number of reps that you put in. It has a nice high skill ceiling. The people that are on it are pretty stuck on it because they've invested all the time. Yeah, it's tough to really call any deck easy, but it's good. The entry point is good.
What speaks for me for red purple is just that it can beat everything for many people. I think also the deck in itself can beat every deck, I think. And if you are thinking too much about the meta, then you think, maybe me as example, if I think, do I play green purple? If there are too much steel songs, then I will. Oh my gosh! And the red purple players don't think like that because there's no matchup they are really afraid of. I mean, there are some that are not that good like green purple, but it's not the auto-loss matchup. It's matchups you really, really, really don't want to face.
The joke is always that the red purple players say, well, it doesn't have any bad matchups, to which other people like me who like to stir trouble say, no good matchups either.
Yeah.
I think you're like operating you're like looking at like a 40 to 45% win rate for like matchup spread, isn't it? You've got no sharp like blue still into red blue bad matchups, have you? Which is your strength, that you don't sharply lose to anything, but you're not excelling against anything either.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. One of the good parts of being able to talk to both of you is that the most recent, big set 3 tournament going into thinking about the Lille metagame was the most recent pack tournament hosted by Tia, another great tournament. Between the two of you, you represent 25% of the top 8. So you can talk to us about the meta. Harlan, let's maybe start with you. What did you bring to that tournament? And tell us about your experience and why you picked your deck.
Yeah, that was a shot in the dark, really. Green steel. I was still on blue steel before that, and just if any blue steel players played into red blue, it's just not fun. And red blue's popularity has been such on the rise. I just can't face that anymore. It's soul crushing. I don't enjoy it. I wanted to sort of fight back at red blue, and my actual thought process was, if I'm expecting to play against a lot of red blue, I'll play a deck that I think is quite good into it. I think it's quite good. I think it's still like a 50-50 matchup because Harem's quite good against it. It worked out well. I mean, I'm playing a bit more of a different, because the person who won the event was also in green steel, but I was going with my Robin Hood Tiana package. Yeah, big up Tiana, my girl. I don't know why. I think I might have digged in a bit too deep with that meme that I've now going to keep playing Tiana, but I think in set 4 she might have to go.
But she was good in the tournament, was she?
She did. She had a few interesting plays. We even got to Tiana Locker red purple, which is impossible nowadays with Medusa and Maui still being a threat. So they've got 8 outs to that. Just a great quester as well on turn 4. She's not going to get removed by much. Of course, there's situations you don't want to play into a kit or into a Medusa. I think she sort of comes around for Steel Song and Blue Steel because you just want to stop them wheels, because you're discarding and they hit a wheel, you're actually, all your work's undone, and it's just it's quite a rough play to be. I think you want to win on the draw because we need them 2-0s, and I think because Ursula sing Let the Storm Rage On is, I can't think of another better thing to sing in the game.
Yeah,
it's Friends is great as well, and Mother Knows Best is good.
That's better.
Yeah, to get 2 cards and to do 4 damage, it's so good. And to play on the draw, I'm trying to identify the things that I'm winning on the draw with, and of course one of the better things is things that have rush. So Fox is good. I don't have that in green steel. So Ursula singing is winning me on the draw, I think, quite a lot more than I realise. Because you get the card draw, you get to remove, and then you also get to play as well. You've still got your 4 ink to play with.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really strong pick. And if you get the mulligan down, it rarely bricks. I mean, every deck bricks. It's a card game that happens. But the rates are so much lower than any wheel deck that I've played. It's a low curve as well. You ink to 4th, and then you sort of play with 5 if you need the Tragic Beast out or not. So it's really quite good. It fits my playstyle quite well. Yeah, the Swiss was fine. We had quite a lot of matchups red. I played 1 red-blue, which infuriated me a bit. I was expecting to play loads, but I managed to get the 2 on that one, so I was grateful. I played 2 purple steels. It was another thing of, I didn't want to play against decks like that, because purple steel and amber steel, I think, are its hardest matchups when they're able to just ping Merfolks and Flynns and stuff, and then those 2 decks are most likely going to play Grab Your Sword. And then top 16 played Bjorn. Mad props to the guy. This is another thing you want to practice, because you're also at regionals going to have players like Bjorn who, that deck carried him to top 16, so it has to have some credibility and you have to respect it. But it was a very unique approach to Mufasa. And yeah, that was tough. It was even open deck lists, but I was still trying to anticipate what was going to happen, because the player has such a unique playstyle as well.
Yeah, and a lot of one-offs. A lot of one-offs
as well.
So even with open deck lists, a deck that's full of one-offs is going to keep you guessing. They get in your head, those one-offs.
I think the only thing I clocked with when I checked his deck list was he had no songs, so 2-drop Ursula, just mulligan away straight away. But I think I might have went into that too much, was I just need to mulligan 2-drop Ursula and I win the game. And it's like, that's not a good mindset to have, is it really? Yeah, I should have looked at what the other cards are doing. I saw a Doc and I saw Mufasa, so I said he's probably going to try and ramp into the Mufasa early. But no, that managed to get past. But then I was halted by...
It was so close match. Oh my gosh, this was really
you made it all the way to the top 8 before you had to play against some rude green-purple player that's kicked you out of the tournament. And we can talk to him right now.
We were tracking it, and I don't know if we were tracking it in our little Discord, and I don't think anyone had clocked that if we both won, we would be playing against each other. Because I said, "Oh, cool, who's my pairing next?" And they went, "Oh God, don't check." It was like, oh, we'll have fun with it, And I believe there was a lot of red-blue in there that was sort of I think there was 4 or something that made it.
I played top 16 against 1.
How do you find the matchup? Because I find it relatively fair. You've got bounce and I've got hard removal.
I think it's fair. I think it's a very skill dependent matchup. I think you need to know how to play against green steel, because if I don't dump my hand, I have no chance against you. I think I have to go really wide really soon that I have a chance, because if you get too much value out of Prince John, I'm doomed most of the time. And I knew that you played and the most green steel do not play either Tinkerbell or Grab Your Sword, so I know I can go wide and try to race you like this. It's very tight most of the time, really, really tight. And I think who starts has real good advantage matchup.
Yeah, Vince went 1-1, and then it's the last one. You can get a bit in your head, and you might want to try some new ideas. Yeah, I tried to mix it up on the last game, and I tried to double 1-drop on the turn 2, and it wasn't the idea. But in my head, when you get a bit frazzled because you think, oh, I'm in top 8. No, I'm in top 4 if I do this or whatever, and you can
sometimes it works out. Sometimes it works out.
And sometimes it doesn't. It's sometimes not the best place to be trying out ideas. But I thought, I'm on the draw versus Artabax, who's probably like the best green-purple.
Yeah.
I need to try something out of box, because you know how to use your bouncers correctly. I'm never going to get the Ursula singing properly. I'd have to stock my hand of like 3, let the Storm Rage on, because I'm also on the draw as well. So you get to play Ursula bounce and then play her
I think it
again
was right.
before.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a
Yeah,
fair read of the situation. You know that sort of going second in that open matchup against a player of this caliber, you're probably not going to get there just fair one-for-one because they have that upper hand, such a tempo advantage
Yeah,
on a deck that snowballs the tempo advantage. So just go for it and make them have it.
Yeah, that was my thought, but completely it was that I'm on the draw, so I'm already on the back foot. I need to do something that he won't expect, or a play that he might not, and yeah, it didn't work out, but it was sort of, I think the other option of approaching it properly with I play my 2-drop, then my 3-drop, then I try and sing, it just didn't feel, it felt like he knew the answers to them. He's done this matchup before, he knows what he's going to do. We actually even played in Swiss as well, didn't we, LD?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yes, we did. We went 1-1 into each other. Yeah. I didn't know it was him until the end as well.
Got away from that one with a 1-1.
Not to comment too much on best of two, because I'll keep it on topic, but that sort of, you do bubble up to a point when you're playing against someone and you both sort of on a very even level, and it's just who got on the play matters, and you just walk away with these 1-1s that knock you down to about 60, and then you might get a 2-2 again to knock you up again.
Yeah, it's difficult.
It's very difficult. But overall, that was a really good experience. And I was a little bit on the fence because I wasn't feeling very confident with Blue Steel. I didn't really want to bring that to regionals, but it was sort of the deck that I'd had the most play. And then, Green Steel's just now up at the front, and I actually really like it, and even like it going forward into set 4.
Nice. And Artabax, how about from your perspective then? We've just heard a little bit about the match you had together, and we can guess what deck you were running. But how about this sort of field that you faced? How was your experience through the tournament, making it to the final?
The first day was really hard. I think there were 9 rounds, I think, and I got 6 steals, and I don't want to face 6 steals in this one.
No.
With my deck. Yeah, I kind of came through. I beat 2 blue steals 2-0. That was really good. Doesn't work out all the time this way. And 2 green steel. I had 3 green steel in total. 2 I won also 2-0. I had a really good day. If I see the matchups, I had a really good day because I had only 1 red purple and only 1 red blue. That are the matchups I wanted to face, and kind of unlucky with matchups, but worked out. And then the final was a little bit sad because I came into the final against the red. Then that was a little bit sad. This game, I felt I was kind of unlucky, but it's the red is a really good player, and he deserved that win.
It was a really good final to watch as well. And
the craziest game was the semi-final for me. That was the Jafar.
Yeah,
because Jafar seemed to be, if you want to crush me, bring Jafar. Really, this is so bad.
That's the matchup I wanted to talk to you about, because while that was happening, I was watching your stream, and I was in the chat like the most crazy Artabax fan. I was just kept saying, like, do you people understand how bad this matchup is for Green Purple? I don't think you understand how much he shouldn't win this. And if you want to play Green Purple, go and watch the VODs of that match. That is a really crazy match.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it worked out for me. You can play still your 3-drop Ursulas as a taunt or something, but in general, Blue Fairy wrecks us. All Floodborns are good. They have 4 Tinkerbells, they have 4 Beasts, they have 4 Robin Hoods, especially the Jafar shift. I don't care too much about but no. It's just everything in their deck is against us.
Yeah, every one of those cards you've just mentioned, every one of those individually is a near unanswerable problem for the Green Purple deck, where you kind of have a Mother Knows Best to delay it a turn, or you just lose to it.
Everyone is talking to me about my 4 Mother Knows Best and say that's bad. Why I play this? Because I am comfortable enough to beat blue red and red purple, hopefully even with them, because they are not good into dead matchups, but all steel matchups they are really good, and therefore I'm playing still 4, because most of the time you need 2. You don't need 1, you need 2, and when you need 2 Mother Knows Best in a game, then you shouldn't play 3, then you should play 4.
I assume people have had too many of those games where they've just sat there and their hand is about 3 or 4 Mother Knows Bests, and they just keep drawing.
Oh yeah, that happens.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah. But it's the same with the Be Prepareds, when you sat there and you're like, why do I have 3 Be Prepareds in hand here? I have it with Let the Storm Rage on. It's like, it's a good card. I don't need all of them right now, though.
Except when we get to that point, to me, then I start trying to sculpt a hand which is my 3 Mother Knows Best plus 1 goat, and I start thinking, right, just get to 12, and I'm good. I'm looking, and then I'm 7 ink, 12 and I can just like goat, bounce my own goat,
12 and 7 ink. 12 and 7 ink, and the game is over.
Yeah. So at least they're a little.
I think after we finished that event as well, because we were having a chat, I think we both said kit was a bit more because of how much green there is now, and it's got a lot more popular since that event. Especially in the online spaces, it felt like kit was a bit more prevalent. It's just because you want to bounce back an Ursula or something.
Yeah.
The good thing about green purple was in the past that it was the whole set 3 was kind of a rogue deck. So we were more experienced into all matchups than they were into us because nobody practiced this matchup. But I don't know how it will come in Lille.
But that's a very good point, because on the day, I mean, in that tournament, my first 4 matchups in a row were all green steel, and I felt like, whoa. I've missed the memo. Is green steel just tier 0? This is the best deck straight up. Someone could have really told me. That would have been nice of them. There was a lot more of it around, but then by the time the tournament shook out, still a very balanced field, and we're still seeing all the decks we expect to see with some representation. Maybe a little less red-purple on the day, but it's not going anywhere. Moving into Lille and Atlanta, still a pretty open field. I guess it's kind of still feels very much like we pushed the thought a lot. Play the deck and understand its matchups, and it's probably your best thought going in. So is that kind of the mindset that both of you are going in with, or are you ready to change deck again, Harlan?
Well, I messaged a few people, as you know, got a little group and everything, and it will be one day I'm really hot on Steel Song. I've broken the meta actually. Yeah, Fluke Steel Song is breaking the meta, and then you'll play it on whatever, you'll practice with it, and it's like, actually this isn't the best deck, is it really? I do jump around, but I think even if I get bored of green steel, it seems to be the best results for me, and it makes the most sense to me, so I should stick with it. And there's messages in the blue steel thread saying, guys, if I ever swap deck, come and make sure I don't. I think I said you're welcome to slap me if I try and swap decks. So that message aged like a fine wine, didn't it?
Yeah, you're now owed some slaps in Lille.
So watch out in Lille. Yeah.
By time recording, it's a little bit of a Jafar hype train. Did you realize? Did you recognize that? Because some people think Jafar is the best pick now because it beats red purple. It beats the green decks kind of consistently. Has not too many really bad matchups.
I would take green steel into Jafar though. I would take that.
Okay.
With Ursula to clear their Jafar shift, even let the Storm Rage on would clear the big one, and then you've got Ursula to take the 2-drop Ursula to take out the whole new world. I think I'd take that matchup. I'd have to have a good mulligan, but that's been the deck's thing every time. That
matchup I really don't know. Yeah.
You've got all the good steel removal. You still play strength.
Blue Fairy but you can just remove Blue Fairy.
Yeah, you can just let the Storm Rage on it, which is nice. Yeah. But I have seen Jafar. I've seen purple steel just in general get quite popular again.
Yeah, I think the player that you played against in the semi-final, Artabax, I believe the guy's name is Dark Echo. He started doing some streaming on Twitch. I see him online sometimes. Big time Jafar player. I thought Red-Blue had a good matchup into Jafar, and then I played a load of games of Red-Blue and played against Dark Echo, I think 6 times in one day, and I think he 6-0'd me, because by the end of it, I thought, I'm opening this guy's stream, and if he's queuing, I'm not. And so he's got Jafar worked out and makes it look amazing again. Potentially I'm bad at Red-Blue. This is a real possibility. But
it would be a crazy arc if in the end of the format it changes back to Jafar.
Because at the start we had that such big hype for it. I mean, even I remember, because I was still on Red Purple in set 2, I said, I'll sell all these cards. Have you seen this card, Jafar? Wow, look at this card. I think I played 2 games on Pixelborn and I just didn't like it, I just didn't want to play it anymore.
Yeah, it's one of those decks that it doesn't gel with everyone, and the expectation for it, like you say, was so high. I mean, I was guilty of it as well, when I sort of realised that, I think we'd just come through set 2 where Goat was king, and you just saw the impact that just... The Goat decks were the only ones with any reach. It was the only sort of way of gaining some lore out of nowhere. So we were pretty scared at that point in history of decks randomly gaining 3 lore, and then this got spoiled and threatened to just gain 7. And so I think it was kind of reasonable to be scared, but it didn't materialise like we thought it would. But it would be the perfect redemption arc for it to place really highly in these final tournaments.
If we've all been looking over it, but that might be some player who's not in the online sphere, in the online world, and just that his locals has been, winning local league every week with Jafar wheel. Yeah. And then when Lille comes round, they come in and clear out and they get straight walk through Swiss. It could happen,
Yeah.
I was always confused which way you went with it, if you wanted to do the full Jafar combo as your win condition, or you sort of mid-range it out and go, well, I can quest win as well. Yeah.
I think it's probably going to be similar to every deck, which is that every deck has something linear it does that's really powerful, whether it's amber steals, well, you shift a queen on 2 and wheel them, and way, we've just refilled our hands. Yeah. Or if it's sort of green purples, like you draw 4 with your Ursula or whatever. When you look at a deck list, it's easy to lock in on that and you think, this is what we're doing. It's the most powerful thing. And then invariably, the people that do best with these decks largely ignore that and they take them when they happen incidentally. Like Artabax, I'm sure you could count the number of times you sung Friends with Ursula through that whole tournament on one hand. It's probably not many times at all. But on paper, that's what you're trying to do. And it's the people that just play Jafar as a fair mid-range deck and get the most out of every card. They're not trying to shift it as early as possible. Just if the opportunity presents itself, then go for it, but don't go all in.
If you were to just follow the linear path, it is just, I need Jafar to sing a whole new world. That's not a particularly hard line to figure out, that you play your early one, shift it. It's so I mean, we had one, I played one in top 8 at Store Champs, and really good player as well. The deck was just solid, I thought. I noticed they didn't have any non-questing lore, and that was the only time I could really take advantage of that.
Overall then, the picture is of a pretty open metagame. So with that in mind, for the players like yourselves that are preparing to head off to Lille, do you have any other advice, maybe non-deck related thoughts, to help them navigate this tournament or get ready for it?
I think it's obvious things like sleep good and eat good, play a deck that feels good for you. I think it's a little bit deck dependent, but just try to feel good. That's something I would suggest. Deck decision influence that as well, but just don't try to win. Just do your best. Don't think, I have to win this whole tournament. I don't think any one of us, when there are 2,000 players, thinks, I think I will win that. If everything runs correctly, I will win that. Nobody thinks like that. We are all happy if we reach day 2. We are all happy if it goes further. Just don't think everyone can lose, everyone can win. It's a card game. Try your best and see what comes out.
I was inspired by that.
You can win.
Putting Artabax on the camera. I think the first time I met ULD was we did them little events in London. Yeah. And there was quite a few of us that met up, and I remember talking with, I believe it was Lorcana Villain, and we said that the endurance part of a 2-day event or a big event is something you really need to actually build yourself up for, because once you've done 9 rounds of Lorcana, the best of 2, whatever we're using, it's just draining on you. And say if you're not having a good run of it, but you still have a chance of making day 2, you're going to get fed up with the game, you're going to get tired, you might get angry, and you might misplay. There's always a good opinion for picking a deck that you misplay the least with, because as you said, if you misplay with it now in the comfort of your own home or at your locals, when you get to the big stage, and you can't make any mistakes, you shouldn't really be it's risky because you're tired, you might be hungry, whatever it is.
But it gets better when you are autopilot certain
exactly. And as yourself, green purple's a very complicated deck in my opinion, but I feel it so well that you might have their matchups where you can just turn autopilot on. I do this, they do that, I do and it figures out in your head, which is really good. But I think take something that you feel comfortable on, something you're not going to get bored on, something you don't really misplay with. Don't chase the meta too much, because as we say, it's just going to be a big whirlwind. You're stuck in, a lot of us are stuck in our 20 lore bubble, I think. And we're going to have some guy, he only plays in his Latvian local league, or something like that, turn up and just absolutely destroy us all. But it's just going to be amazing. And also the luck element at a 2,000 person event, it can't be understated.
You've got to run pretty hot.
on top of playing at your best and doing your best, you have to have so much luck behind you. And that's the fun that we like with TCGs as well. Like, that's the reason why we do it.
Yeah, I also want to mention something that LD said, Lorcana Villains podcast, the best, even if you see the best players win rates in Dreamborn or something, they cover something around like 65 or 70%. So they will lose 30% of the games, and that can be in the tournament, and they will be not in the day 2. And I think if you ask me, one thing that differences the good players to the best players is just mental things, I think.
Yeah.
Because you should just don't care too much. For example, your matchups. I played Green Purple for the whole set, and there were times where Green Purple was really not that good, and I just didn't care, and it works out for me. Or for example, the Candio, there were tournaments, Amber Steel was bad in the meta, kind of, because everyone was blue steel, and he won that tournament. So you have a good time if you just don't care about something. I mean, don't care, you should look at the meta, but just do your best and don't care too much about anything. It sounds weird, but it helps a lot, because if you play a game and then you lose two times, then this deck is bad, and play that. Yeah, it's like that. We all know that feeling. We all know that feeling. Yeah.
That's why I've swapped decks like 3 times. Yeah.
You lose 3 games in a row, and then you think, what's this deck plays something? And we all think that way. I think many people think that way, and we shouldn't, kind of, because
that's what I was going to say. Is sort of the absolute worst thing you can do is play for a whole set cycle on a deck that you really like, get loads of reps with it, learn it like the back of your hand, and then become oriented around a couple of losses. And believe I am the number one person to do this. It's very funny in an open metagame that can feel a bit like rock, paper, scissors. You'll sit and play a bunch of games with your rock deck, and you'll smash 9 pairs of scissors, and then get wrapped up by 1 piece of paper, and you obsess about that one game, and even though you just beat those scissors for 9 games, you look at that and you go, those scissors, they really mess up that paper, don't they? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I should don't do that.
Yeah, and also the whole matchup thing is just a circle, I think, because then everyone thinks, green purple, green steel, we should all play Amber Steel. And the day following, all think, everyone plays Amber Steel, I should play blue red. And the day following, it's just you have to find exactly the right spot of the meta, and I think you can do that.
I put a tweet out saying that I sort of very jealous of the red purple steel sun players that have just stuck with their deck and just rided the meta waves out and just taken those hits, because that's just a really nice place to be, because you're not jumping around all the time. But even with TCGs, how it works, it's like after I got like top 8 in Thea, I was quite happy for, like, I hadn't achieved top 8 like that in a little bit, and then it was like queue into one game, lose, and all of that is gone. Oh, I don't want to play this deck anymore, this is terrible, I'm the worst person that's ever played this game, and it's just, why does my head go there? But it does.
I think probably loads of players do, and it's so natural to go there. You have to think about the highs that you had and hold on to them.
Going into rounds at a bigger event, I always think you should just think about the next game that you're playing. Don't think like, I need to make 2 games to make cut. Just think, right, okay, I'm against Amber Steel, what are my options, how can I play this? Don't go, I'm 3 out of 5 and I just need to win 1 more and I make cut. No, don't think like that. Think just about the right now, because you'll be like, I'm going to make cut, and just not really focus on what you're doing, and that's not really the play to play, I think. So just keep it in the moment, and of course don't go too serious on it. But
yeah, all good advice, and I think just that old piece of advice holds really true. Playing the deck into this open field, go in with a nice clear head, take every game individually, know that you're going to need a bit of luck to get all the way through this tournament format, and just enjoy the process if you can, because it's also incredibly stressful, but try to enjoy the process. Oh, and the other thing is, if you've got friends at the event, make sure you go out for dinner after. It's always the best part of every tournament anyway. The card game is just a precursor to dinner with your friends, so make sure you go out and have some food. Cool. So that's kind of taken us through everything that we wanted to cover. I'm going to press you both for a bold prediction. Which deck is winning in Lille, where you're both going? And I'm going to make you just say it right now. We'll start with Artabax.
Ooh. Oh, that's really tough. I really wouldn't say green purple because it's not that much played. I think I could imagine green steel because I think like green steel
It's
could be
strong.
the most played deck, even more maybe than red purple. I think maybe I'm totally wrong. And it's a strong deck. It has not too crazy auto loss matchups. And what I want to say is, don't bring Jafar. Okay.
For no reason, at no specific reason, just don't bring
Yeah,
it.
no specific reason, but don't bring Jafar. And Ember Steel is also a really bad deck. Don't play it.
Harlan, how about your prediction?
I'd like red purple to get some sort of crowning achievement rather than just being like the deck that gets you a top cut. Like, I'd like it to go on to win something big because I think it really deserves the place in history rather than just it's been a good deck. You know, he's been a good lad for the last 3 sets, but you know, I'd prefer it gets something. But I think, in all honesty, red blue. I've got to also put it to green steel because that would be what I'm bringing. So as much as Artabax didn't back his own horse in the race, I've got to back green steel. I think it doesn't, even blue steel, which is allegedly its one matchup, I don't believe it's that bad. If you just go hard at the discarding, it's discarding. You're removing the problems before they're even out on the board. So it's all right. And blue steel's a bit slower, so it does take a while to get going.
Yeah.
So I'd say green steel or red blue. I can't see any weak points in red blue. I just don't find the deck very fun to play.
Totally. And then I'm going to just throw a very bold prediction out there. While a lot of the European players maybe haven't had such a spotlight yet, I've been watching them and I'm seeing what's happening, and I'm seeing Dutch players, and I'm specifically seeing one store in Italy where 3 of its top 4 were blurple. It's happening, right? You might not expect them, but they're coming. And I think a showing from a truly skilled blurple pilot is coming down the line, and maybe they don't win, but they're going to take some games, and I'm backing them for a top 8. One of them, I think there's one of these communities that's cooking blurple, and I think they're very good at the game.
I don't like green steel into blurple because it's just the cogs. They get access to the Cogsworth, and it's actually quite a hard card to play around. Yeah.
Blurple is a good deck. Green purple is like 50-50 against blurple, so blurple is a good deck. Really.
Yeah,
I wouldn't underestimate it.
No, there are people out there that seem to know it very, very well and have kind of pushed it quite far.
I think just by the percentage of decks played in the tournament, the chance of another deck is maybe higher to win it completely, but it's
of course.
It's a really good deck.
I think there's even a good shout for these sort of amber ruby evasive check, you know what I mean, just to make a good dent in it, because if we do get a line of really hyper meta decks that just aren't answering evasives, you'll probably get some 2-eye wins there. I think they've even got a chance. You know, it's so, and this is the first of its kind as well. It's not like we've seen the last year's version of this and we go, oh, what usually happens at these regional events is this. We haven't seen that yet, so it's going to be really exciting.
It's a complete unknown. And a very exciting one to be walking into. And that feels like a really good point to kind of wrap us up. If you've listened this far, thank you so much for listening and bearing with us as we try and find our feet with this podcast format. I've had a lot of fun chatting to you guys, and thank you both for joining me. And I'm looking forward to doing loads more of this. I hope that everyone listening's enjoyed it too.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. Looking so forward for the next session. I'm really excited.
As I'd mentioned as well, this is sort of very community driven. So if anyone's watching this has ideas or thinks, hey, this person did a really great thing in the community, it would be cool to have them on. I think that's a good thing to mention to us in any comment section or something.
Let us know as well. You can find all of us over on the 20 Law Pro Discord. We'll make sure there's a link available we're all active there. And where can we find both of you as well if we want to get in touch directly?
You will find me also in the 20 Law Discord. You can write me in the 20 Law Discord, or just personally direct message if you want coaching, for example, or have some other questions. You can always write me. And I'm on Twitch also, on YouTube, on Twitter.
Cool. Sorry, Harlan, where can we find you? On 20 Law?
Yeah, I'm on 20 Law as well, and on Twitter. Yeah, I tweet as well. I'll be at pretty much most events because Lorcana is consumed it all my life, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. It just has. In my mid-20s, why not just play a lot of Lorcana? So Yeah, you'll probably see him around. I'm always going to try wear the 20 Law shirt as well, so people can see me about. Yeah, I'm always open to message. Because of time zones, I wake up with about 20 missed messages most mornings, which actually I love. So please keep sending them. Yeah.
Awesome. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm on the 20 Law Discord as well, LD, or you can find me on Twitter at Lorcana Decklists. That's at Lorcana Decks. But yeah, thanks again, guys, and thanks for the great conversation. Looking forward to many more of these, and I'm sure I'll speak to you both very soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Ooh, that went well. Ooh.
Bye bye.